Today on Investigate TV Plus Weekend, data centers expanding across the country, potentially putting strain on the power grid and your pocketbook.
When you're asking working families to pay higher electric rates so that more infrastructure can be built to serve billionaire-controlled tech companies, that's a problem.
Plus, when power bills collide with life-saving medical needs, the results can be devastating.
I'm worried about living right now, but instead of being able to do that, I'm arguing with you about an electric bill that I need service in order to freaking live.
Investigate TV Plus Weekend starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV Plus Weekend. I'm Lee Zurich. Giant warehouses are popping up across the country, and what's inside could impact not just how much you pay for power, but whether your lights stay on. Those warehouses are home to data centers that drain huge amounts of energy. Our Josie Sturman discovered they can be built under a cloak of secrecy, with customers left paying the bills.
When Ari Govani Young bought her house about 45 minutes outside D.C., she was looking for an escape.
We had a beautiful view of a field with trees. A lot of nights you'd see different animals walking through, so it was pretty much our little oasis.
A piece of lush paradise in suburban Virginia that has since been transformed into a concrete jungle.
And when you look at it, what do you think about this place?
Oh, it's horrible. It's absolutely atrocious.
A cement shadow rising to the sky just 200 feet from her balcony. What she and other neighbors were originally told would be a retail center with restaurants and shops they could walk to was later zoned for and turned into something they can't even stand.
Unfortunately, our community was the guinea pig. We were the test subject to see, can we build a data center this close to a community? And yes, you can.
Data centers are essentially warehouses filled with computer processors, servers, and equipment. They can be used for cloud computing and storage, the machines that make it possible to hold on to your old email and pictures. Lately, they've also become a hub for artificial intelligence. That's the kind of technology that simulates human learning. Things like using ChatGPT to tell you the meaning of life, write you a love song, or track down scientific studies. These data centers are changing our world and our landscape as companies like Amazon, Google, and Meta invest in AI across America.
Data centers are vital to enabling critical and emerging technologies like AI that are essential to U.S. national security, our global competitiveness, and economic prosperity.
The competition is a power struggle, not just to dominate the AI industry globally, but also to provide the energy needed to physically fuel data centers here at home.
I spoke with Microsoft. The Microsoft data centers, not all, but some Microsoft data centers can use as much power as the city of Seattle.
And it's cities and towns nationwide that are dealing with the consequences and concerns attached to these concrete giants. As massive data centers begin a physical takeover of some communities, there's also unease about the pain customers may feel in their pocketbook when it comes to supporting these facilities from Georgia to Nebraska.
The concern here that data centers could put a drain on much needed resources or can impact power and water bills.
They have multiple data centers and they're seeing skyrocketing electric rates.
That to me should be setting off alarm bells.
It's something Tyson Slocum has been warning about.
Big tech wants to see someone else pick up the tab for all this expensive infrastructure, and utilities are happy to accommodate by building the infrastructure and then billing all consumers within the service territory for that infrastructure.
Slocum, an energy expert with the nonprofit consumer advocacy group Public Citizen, testified to Congress in April about the impacts of the rapid expansion of AI data centers nationwide.
When you're asking working families to pay higher electric rates so that more infrastructure can be built to serve billionaire-controlled tech companies, that's a problem.
Although industry leaders say they're committed to paying the full cost of service for the energy they use, experts dispute that. And many people don't even know the behemoths that could impact their power bill are even being built.
I don't understand why that should be a secret, right? If someone wants to come build something, they should be proud and be willing to come at the very first opportunity in front of your community.
But many people are being kept in the dark about the development of data centers in their backyard, with non-disclosure agreements used as the projects get off the ground. Some companies are requiring local governments to keep the details secret until certain water and power deals are locked, and it's happening across the nation. Our national investigative team sent public information requests to dozens of communities in all 50 states, asking for copies of any NDAs signed as part of data center development. We discovered some extend for years, even if nothing is ever approved, and that both parties have to agree not to share information about the project's location or details. One we obtained from Virginia never even mentions the phrase data center, instead referring vaguely only to development. Another in Indiana covered a project that could span as many as 400 acres. And 2 NDAs we got from Texas warn that leaks could lead to legal action, with one setting a 5-year confidentiality period. That's long enough for a project to be planned, approved, and potentially built without full public scrutiny.
We've heard directly from folks that very often, under the terms of the NDA, the big tech companies reach a tentative agreement with local officials, and then the local officials say, okay, now we go to the public. But by then it's a done deal. 99% of all of the details have been negotiated in private between big tech's lawyers and the local officials. And by the time you've got a public hearing, the presentation is, here's the deal that's on the table, take it or leave it.
We asked 6 of the nation's biggest data center companies about the use of NDAs and other issues. Only 2 and a national lobbying group responded. The Data Center Coalition, a trade organization, says NDAs protect company-specific information, details they might be hesitant to share given the competition. And Meta told our team that maintaining confidentiality increases the speed and efficiency of projects, pointing out that sometimes they choose not to move forward, so these agreements keep them from pulling communities through the ups and downs of the process. Still, this development can happen under a veil of secrecy, even though the projects may put a substantial strain on individual customers and the nation's power grid as a whole.
The data centers and the load growth associated with that has just put a heightened sense of urgency into a number of things we've been concerned about anyway.
Jim Robb is the president and CEO of the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC. That's the regulatory group in charge of ensuring the security and reliability of our power grid, something that's being tested as more and more data centers come online.
It's a very daunting challenge for the country.
A test of grid reliability that has already exposed serious problems. An April presentation to federal regulators obtained by our team highlights 2 major incidents in Virginia. One of them, a near miss last summer, involves 60 data centers that simultaneously dropped off the grid. As a result, a huge amount of electricity on the grid suddenly had nowhere to go. Experts say it's like having a large nuclear power plant come online immediately and unexpectedly, creating a massive energy imbalance that could have led to blackouts.
The close calls are very concerning. And if they come off the grid in ways that we don't understand, can't predict, and can't manage, they can introduce oscillations in the grid, instability, which can eventually start to impact people's ability to use power in their homes.
Because what this comes down to is if one of these data centers or multiple data centers go offline suddenly, that's going to have a ripple effect that is going to impact Joe consumer that has absolutely nothing to do with the data center.
It absolutely could, right? And that's one of the reasons we want to make sure that they're well understood, well modeled, and well controlled.
Consumer advocates say that's why there should be more regulation and more tools to respond. Until that happens, the data center industry, utilities, and communities all agree there needs to be more study, more collaboration, and more communication.
A lot of the community didn't even know that this was happening because, again, they send out a mailing or they'll post a little sign, little tiny sign at the front that there's a public hearing coming up, and you're going, okay, cool, whatever, I don't know what this is.
Back in what they call Virginia's Data Center Alley, people like Ari Gavani-Young say developers need to do more to break down the walls of secrecy before they start physically building foundations.
What's your message to anyone who hears that there is the potential for a data center to pop up in their community?
Get your community on board, get to the meetings, be a voice, be an advocate for your community. That's all we can do.
Many of the major data center companies say they're already innovating, looking for ways to reduce grid strain and use renewable energy sources. We also know several states have already proposed or are working on legislation to make sure costs related to data centers are not passed on to everyday consumers.
And I need to be turned back on because I have life-sustaining medical equipment. Unless you're going to allow me to die at home, over $80.
Coming up, her plea from the edge of a medical emergency raises serious questions about who is and who isn't protected when the power goes out. If you've ever been shocked by your electric bill, imagine if an unpaid bill could cut off your life support. Most states require city-owned utilities and electric cooperatives to delay disconnection of customers who rely on medical devices, but the rules have different time limits. Our Brendan Keefe obtained recordings of a collections manager trying to get immediate payment from a patient while she was in the back of an ambulance.
This tornado is a confirmed tornado on the ground.
Power lines down everywhere. There's houses that are damaged, buildings damaged.
This is a strong, powerful tornado on the ground right now in Spalding County, moving over the city of Griffin.
For all of us, a power outage during a storm is an inconvenience.
Yeah.
For you, it's life.
It's life or death.
More than 15,000 people without power right now.
Without that power,
My pump's going to stop, and then my heart can stop.
These batteries power the heart pump keeping Tina Marsden alive 12 hours at a time. After tornadoes in Georgia, she was powerless for 6 days.
There was a Griffin fireman and his wife. They were like, you shouldn't have to be going through this, and we're going to bring you our generator. And that saved my life.
The power line to her house, a lifeline.
Hello, City of Griffin.
I want to postpone this connection.
There is an order for it to be disconnected.
I can come home with a new prescription, and now all of a sudden I can't afford this prescription, so I have to decide between paying a light bill, paying part of a light bill.
I have a heart pump that pumps my heart.
And my power was turned off this morning.
Unfortunately, we don't do payment arrangements or extensions past the 7-day grace period.
If you need power to live, you get one additional day.
1 day.
One additional day from that 7 days.
The city of Griffin combines electric, trash, and water charges into a single bill. If you don't pay for garbage collection, they cut off your power.
And I need to be turned back on because I have life-sustaining medical equipment. Unless you're going to allow me to die at home, over $80.
There's no law in Georgia covering these municipal electrical services or electrical cooperatives. They don't have to follow the same rules as, say, Georgia Power.
That is correct. So they are self-regulated in a sense.
Your protection depends on where you live. Here in New York, customers dependent on life support equipment get at least an extra 3 months to pay their electric bill, no matter who supplies the power. But here in Louisiana, it's a bit trickier because those extended deadlines don't apply to city-run or cooperative utilities. Same here in Ohio, where medical waivers grant at least an extra 30 days for life support customers of investor-owned power companies, just like Georgia Power. But electric cooperatives and city-owned utilities can leave life support customers powerless.
Their city commissions make their policies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Griffin Board of Commissioners.
Tina fought to get Griffin to add a grace period for medically dependent customers.
I was hospitalized 23 days last month.
But before the city commission added 1 extra day.
Hello.
Yes. This is City of Griffin. I'm the collection manager.
Tina got a collections call on her way to the hospital.
We don't do extensions past your 7-day grace period.
It's just a bad time right now because I'm literally in the back of an ambulance being transported to Atlanta Piedmont. I have to have power because I have a life-sustaining medical equipment. I understand you guys don't have a priority list. Like I said, right now it's not a good time. I only answered because I didn't know if you were my doctor calling.
Okay, well this account has till 6 o'clock today to be paid.
So when? I'm in the ambulance. Can you say that again? The sirens are on.
The account has until 6 o'clock today to be paid, or it starts coming up on the cutoff list tomorrow.
I mean,
the only way to
7 days.
keep it from going on the cutoff list, you've run out of your 7 days.
I told you I'm in the back of an ambulance. I'm a heart patient, so I'm telling you right now, I'm worried I have a blood clot in my heart. I'm worried about dying.
Okay, take care of your personal.
Thank you. And I'll pay 75% online.
Okay, that'll be fine.
I'm pretty sure you'll document this conversation.
Ma'am, I thought you were medically
I am.
concerned right now.
Hold on.
Okay.
I am. I'm ambulance right now. Being straight
Come on,
So yeah, it's a problem. Because I'm having to talk to you, and I told you, I thought you were my doctor. That's the only reason I answered. And then to receive this type of service from the city of Griffin, that's a definite problem. So you're right. I'm worried about living right now, but instead of being able to do that, I'm arguing with you about an executive deal that I need service in order to freaking live. I will talk to you guys when I get out the hospital.
We asked the mayor for a comment or an interview before a recent city commission meeting. The mayor said he couldn't comment because of pending litigation. He then deferred to the city attorney, who replied, no comment.
You're just kind of the belief this is going to happen. People are going to dig.
Yep.
And gas lines are going to get hit.
Yep.
Up next, emergency crews say gas leaks are becoming routine. We explain why some fear the risk is being treated as inevitable. Every year, tens of thousands of gas lines are hit in the U.S. That's according to the Common Ground Alliance. And they found in 2022 and 23, telecommunications work was the leading cause of those hits. Now, major expansion of fiber optic internet is expected in the coming years. Our Kristen Crowley looks into the digging dangers.
They just went door to door to evacuate everybody.
It was in March 2022 when Scott Baucom's family had to race from their home near St. Louis.
The gas line that was hit was right here.
Crews digging in the area hit a natural gas line.
What's going through your mind after that?
You know, fear is a natural reaction.
That fear, driven by what happened to a home in a nearby suburb just days earlier. This home, less than 5 miles from Scott's neighborhood, exploded after a gas leak. It turns out the gas line strike in Scott's neighborhood and this neighborhood were the result of crews digging to install fiber optic internet.
Breaking news.
Fast forward to August of 2024.
A house has been damaged in an explosion.
A home exploded in Independence, Missouri. Independence Fire Battalion Chief Eric Michaels says the cause of this explosion, once again,
the construction company was out running fiber optics and they struck a gas line.
In all of these cases, no one was injured or killed. And while explosions are considered rare, they can be deadly. The Common Ground Alliance, which tracks gas line strikes nationwide, does not specifically track hits related to fiber optic internet work. However, the organization does track incidents involving telecommunications work, which includes fiber optic installation. In 2021, there were just more than 3,400 gas line strikes from telecommunications work. In 2022, that number jumped to more than 4,500. And in 2023, just more than 4,400, making it the leading work connected to gas line strikes 2 years in a row.
When it comes to gas lines being hit during excavation work, are we seeing that happen more often?
We're seeing probably more gas lines being struck just simply because there's more work occurring on.
Randy Norden is executive director for Missouri 811.
So here's a routine ticket.
That's the 3-digit number you're supposed to call nationwide before you dig. 811 then sends out a crew to mark those underground lines like water, sewer, and gas. Randy says sometimes the lines are improperly marked, leading to hits. But he says most of the time, it's because contractors are digging too quickly, especially with fiber optic internet installation.
So when we talk about that increase, and it's a very competitive rush too, because they want to be the first, does that create the opportunity for more errors?
It can. If you get too fast.
This was the house that
This was the house that exploded, right.
Signs of any destruction are hard to spot now in this O'Fallon neighborhood. And in Scott's neighborhood, the leak was fixed before any major damage. But while the visions of fire crews and emergency workers have gone, the memory stays fresh in Scott's mind.
An explosion like that rarely happens, but it happens.
So what can you do at home to keep yourself safe? First, if you're wondering if crews will be digging in your neighborhood, you can call 811 and ask about planned projects nearby. When work begins, if you smell gas, leave your house immediately and call 911. It's also important to note this work in rural communities isn't as risky, since many homeowners have above-ground propane tanks and do not rely on natural gas lines. After the break, before you pay your next insurance bill, a warning about what could be driving up the cost and why the cheapest option might cost you more later. Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms. Nearly half of homeowners surveyed by NerdWallet say their insurance premiums went up this year, and many blame extreme weather. Our Rachel DePompa looks into what's driving the costs and what you can do to save in this week's Watching Your Wallet.
Holden Lewis with NerdWallet says the typical increase was about 10% over the last year. Nationwide, that translates into the average homeowner's premium being about $2,110. When NerdWallet asked homeowners why the premiums went up, a third blamed severe weather.
More frequent and more intense storms do contribute to this, but also there is inflation. When the cost of the things that you need to fix up a house after it's been damaged, when those costs go up, so do the insurance premiums.
Lewis says this study was done before the tariff, so that is not even playing a role in the increased costs and higher premiums. He says you can shop around to find a better price, but he also cautions you to be careful because you do want to be adequately insured.
When you're comparison shopping, just make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. So when you go to various companies, make sure that you're talking about the same amount of dwelling coverage, the same deductibles, and that kind of thing.
Lewis says you might find a good deal, but it might be covering less or have a much higher deductible that you'd regret if you have to file a claim. He also says consider getting flood insurance if you live in a flood-prone area. Your standard policy doesn't usually cover that.
And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV Plus Weekend.